His interest is in polymer science, polymer regions, oligonucleotides, and ionic liquids, in which he has made important contributions. He has more than 150 research publications, 38 doctoral students, who has organized 40 national and 10 international conferences. He has postdoctoral research experience in several countries, distinguished institutions of Israel, Austria, USA, like that. He has visited and delivered and participated in conferences, chaired several scientific sessions in several countries, including UK, West Germany, Japan, Czechoslovakia, Australia, Sri Lanka, South Korea, Thailand, Singapore, and Malaysia. His academic distinctions include honors like Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, UK, member of American Chemical Society, fellow member of Indian Chemical Society, Maharashtra, Maharashtra Academy of Science, Bioorganic Society of India, International Society for Nucleotides, nucleic acids. For his meritorious contributions, he has received the best of the government of Maharashtra, among others. And obtaining a person to talk on examination reforms, who has been at the top of 5 universities as Vice Chancellor. We are very fortunate to have him here. He has joined in time. And one peculiarity, 75 minutes to talk to you. And that shows his interest in the Evaluation Reforms Committee set up by the UGC. He has a lot more to talk to us. And I welcome him, College, Bishamur College, Maveligara, and all the participants here. Thank you for joining us, sir. Welcoming you, sir.
Thank you. Very good evening to all. I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, audible evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Kerala, Dr. K.T. Jalil, Member Secretary, Kerala Higher Education Council, organizers of today's webinar, Dr. Sanjeev, Vice Principal, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to congratulate Bishop Moore College for organizing this particular webinar as faculty development program on topic of need of examination reforms in the changing scenario. What I have planned is I will share my presentation, and with the presentation I will try to explain about examination reforms, what we have suggested in this particular committee, which has been accepted by University Grants Commission. In addition to this, with help of the present new education policy, I would like to say how these examination reforms are important. My presentation involves a rationale for evaluation reforms, program objectives and program outcomes, modes of assessment and timelining of assessment. I will give introduction, then I will try to discuss about learning outcomes, then objectives of assessment and how they are alignment to learning outcomes, characteristic attributes, types of assessment, assessment rubrics, timelining assessments, and I will also introduce you to attainment of outcome, exactly how much, and some recommendations. See, I would like to start my lecture with a quote. If you want to change the student learning, then change the method of assessment. What kind of education policy you bring, it's very important, but simultaneously it's very important to know what kind of changes you would like to have in the method of assessment. Higher education in India is in transportation state, Honorable Minister, as well as your member secretary Higher Education Council has clearly mentioned all these things. What are the challenges? To create skilled resource of young population for change and growth of India. And that's why we have to provide a quality education, and in new education policy, government aims to have the gross enrollment ratio to 50%. Focus on excellence, employability, innovation, and technology. All these things we have to take into account when we are testing our students and we are performing assessments. The present system is mostly examination oriented, affiliating in nature. University conduct end-term, end-year exam, insulate the students for quest of the knowledge, excitement of discovery, and joy of learning. Overemphasis on final exam marks, incentive cramming up memory based, little focus on continuous assessment. And I'm very happy your minister has mentioned about the continuous internal evaluation. Little focus on question paper setting, and Kerala is taking lead in this particular regard. Number of steps involved and delayed results is a common thing in Indian system, and that's why I'm trying to give the what should be the method. Now I will start discussing about learning outcomes, assessments, and Bloom's taxonomy. Learning outcomes are nothing but the program learning outcomes and course learning outcomes. These program learning outcomes are generally they are in 12 number. They are as per Washington Accord. I'm going to show at the end these 12 program learning outcomes, and every program, whether it is a engineering program, arts program, you can change and modify, but the basic structure should be as per the Washington Accord. And they must be simple, clearly described, must be capable of being validly assessed. And everything should be very clear, program learning outcomes as well as course learning outcomes. I will give this typical program learning outcomes. You take any branch, knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. This all as per the Bloom's taxonomy they are expecting. Then the student should have the problem solving approach. Working alone and in teams, personal and interpersonal skills, communication, demonstrate good presentation skills, formulate strategy working concepts and chemical reaction, identified area of research. Next. Now I will say, being your coordinator is from commerce, so I have taken one example from commerce. How for program learning outcomes, suppose first any program, the first is knowledge. Now in this case, the knowledge of commerce is important. Possess and apply knowledge of accounting, finance, taxation, business principles, and concept of to complex situation and problems. So the students should have what kind of competency the BCom students should have. Demonstrate competence in accounting system. And then as a teacher, we have to decide what are the indicators. And I am giving some indicators in this regard. One is understand, apply accounting concepts in preparation of journal, ledger, balance sheet, cash book. Second is apply knowledge to prepare final account of firms. Third indicator, apply various methods of depreciation for accounting purpose. And fourth, apply computational technique to solve quantitative, financial, and accounting problems. Now, we have to match this with the Bloom's taxonomy. And in Bloom's taxonomy, you know, the first thing the student should remember. Student should understand. He should apply. He should analyze. He should evaluate. And finally, he has to create something that is in new education policy talks only about innovation, that is creativity, and that is the last stage of the Bloom's taxonomy. Now, how it is related to the examination system? Suppose if you would like to ask the question student about remembering, then we should ask what is, where is, find, list. Such type of questions tells about whether the student has remembered. If you would like to know whether the student has understand the subject, then we should ask the question, how would you explain, what facts show, can you write? That such type of questions will give us information about the understanding of the student. Apply, then we have to ask the question, what would result if, or what approach would you use? That kind of questions we should ask for apply. And analysis, we should ask, what do you think, what interprets, or what conclusion you can draw? That kind of questions we can ask for to analyze. And to evaluate, what you prove or disprove, what you recommend is where better solution. And finally, to create innovation, how you will predict outcome if such type of situation is present, how you will develop a proposal model that would. So that kind of thinking level we should have, and it is a two-dimensional Bloom's taxonomy, knowledge, and we have to undertake also thinking process, that is cognitive process. Next. Now, I will try to discuss how program learning outcomes. Any program, there will be several. If you have Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Commerce, so program learning outcomes will be there. For the science, there will be course learning outcomes. From chemistry, I say, then I will talk organic, inorganic, physical, analytical. Then teacher has to decide what kind of assessment he would like to have based on Bloom's taxonomy. This is very important. Now I will give one example. Here I am trying to give the program learning outcome, possess, apply the knowledge of accounting, business. Already I have mentioned principles, scientific principles and concept of complex situations and problems. The competency is demonstrate competence in basic concepts, practical indicators, practically demonstrate conduct of experiments. So what kind of things are involved? Here, the practical demonstrate conduct of experiments means the student should remember, understand, and students should apply. Analyze and evaluate and create that things will not applicable for this indicator. If I go for another indicator, apply knowledge to real world problems, then there will be question. We should ask the question on understanding, apply as per Bloom taxonomy, and also the create, because here there is a apply the knowledge, then there is a creativity. So here we have to ask the question on the creativity or on the innovation. Next. Objectives of assessments and how to alignment of learning outcome, I will explain in the next slide. Now, objective assessments are to build the student abilities through acquiring knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Attain, to ensure attainment of expected graduate attributes. Foster, to foster the quality of teaching learning process, and to inquire, demonstrate, and improve the student ability. Next. Now, aligning learning outcomes and assessment. You know the learning outcomes. Now we have to decide what kind of assessment. So if the learning outcomes are clearly written, the assessment is quite easy to plan. Defining intended learning outcome is first step. Choosing assessment type of each learning outcome is a mapping. Linking questions to the course based on Bloom's taxonomy, already I have mentioned, and assessments and Bloom's taxonomy. Next. Now, aligning learning outcome and assessment. So first is program learning outcomes. Then you have to map the curriculum with course learning outcomes. Then core learning outcomes, you have to map to unit learning outcome. Course is divided into various units. And unit learning outcomes, you have to map to the assessment and attainment. Now I will give simple example, so it will be very easy for us to understand. Suppose learning outcome is remember. Then what kind of activity we should conduct? We have to conduct lectures. Every day we are doing such type of activities. But here lecture, reading, tutorials for remembering. So what kind of assessments are required for this? It is formative and summative. Formative is in the middle of any tutorial, or summative at the end of tutorial. So after completing the topic, you can have the summative type, and the sample assessment labels the parts of equipment. This is a simple question. Or understanding, you try to reading. For understanding, students should read. Demonstration and discussion is required. So the question, then immediately I will say the question answer, presentations and demonstrations are the mode of the assessment. And sample of assessment trace the path of component one takes to complete its task. That type of things we can take. Apply. I can't go to all the things, only I will give. Such type of charts are available on our UGC site, in our report on examination report. For apply, you demonstrate applications. So question and answers and demonstrations and tutorials we have to take. So the characteristic attributes and its mapping to assignment I will discuss in the next slide. Now these are the related to, as per the Washington Accord, the students should have disciplinary knowledge, students should have critical thinking, students should have ability to problem solving, analytical reasoning, then scientific reasoning, reflective thinking, research related skills, digital literacy, communication skills, cooperative teamwork, leadership, moral and ethical values, lifelong learning, multicultural competence and fostering innovation. All these things you have to inculcate during the program. Now I will show you direct assessment and their mapping to characteristic attributes. Suppose you are conducting daily home assignment. It is a what kind of activity we do again and again. It is during the teaching of that particular topic. So it is a formative. It is a category formative. And nature of questions, we may ask multiple choice question, filling the blanks or short answers. But the evaluate, what kind of evaluation we are doing? Evaluation attributes are disciplinary because it is related to the discipline. Then critical thinking at this stage, it is not there. So that part is not there. Problem solving is possible. Maybe reflective thinking is possible, and self-directed learning is possible. Likewise, we should know in weekly home assignment, it is also formative, project-based, but it evaluates attributes from disciplinary learning, and I have ticked here all these particular evaluated attributes can be checked with this weekly home assignment. End lecture class assignments, this is after completing the last, this will be a summative, it is a multiple or short answer and all these types. So you should know everything about spontaneous challenge inquiry, surprise quiz, rapid fire quiz, then problem case based scenarios, 1 minute paper, class summary, all these things, and what kind of evaluated attributes are there. And as a teacher, we are doing all these things. It is all theoretical part I'm trying to explain. Next. Now, application. Article, type of assessment, it is a formative. Nature of questions, note on application, learn to real world problem, and what kind of evaluated attributes, such type of charts. You will see in our report, they are given in detail, given essays, so it is a summative, what kind of evaluated attributes we can check that has been indicated. Next. It is also, this is direct assessment type, pros and cons, the concept maps, reviews, then short-term industry training, full-term industry training, laboratory assignment, undergraduate research assignment, everything you should plan in advance for the understanding of the student, and you should know exactly what student will get if by doing this particular direct assessment type. Next. Types of assessments. Now, in written mode, we conduct exams, class tests, open book exams, open notes exam, self-test, essays, quizzes, class assignments, home assignments, bibliographies, reports, portfolios, review book, case studies. In oral mode, we conduct viva, then group discussion, role play, authentic problem solving, then one question quiz, like this, all this know what to know, learn. Practical mode, we conduct lab work, computer simulations, virtual labs, craft work, co-curricular work experience, and integrated mode, paper presentation, seminar, then the strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges, analysis, authentic problem solving, field assignment, and poster presentation. Next. Then we have the type of assessment. We should know if you are conducting a particular type of assessment, then what nature it has. Now I will give one typical example, written mode exam we are conducting. Written mode example is a traditional essay type external exam. Advantage, relatively economical, no change, chance of plagiarism or familiarity. These are, we do it. Limitations, test memory, no feedback, can encourage surface learning, halo effect, suggested frequency. Generally, we conduct this written exam at the term end, preferably semester. Suggested uses include all type of questions, essay, short answers, and objects. So every type of assessment type, you should know all the what we are going to evaluate. Next. Now here it is again written mode, but here it is an open book exam, and we should know advantages and disadvantages of each system, and that's why all the charts are available in our report. So instead of taking your more time, I will just show the what kind of things are available in the report. Next. Again in written mode, this is an open note exam. Advantage, helps to encourage good note taking. Limitations, acquiescence and discourage use of memory. Suggested frequency, one of the class tests or some class assignments, and suggested research, application, analysis, synthesis of that knowledge. Then it is a written mode assessment type, and self-test, online or conventional nature, for all types of subjective and objective attempts we can conduct. Advantage, flexible timing, self-automated checking. Limitations, in MOOCs also same thing is used. Less motivated student may not opt for unless it is mandatory. Suggested frequency, available all types for self-improvement. Suggested usage, available for specified duration, topic-wise, MOOCs and LMS. Likewise, this article and essay writing, we should suggest usage, topic as well as selected, test critical, reflective thinking, and extended reading. And one suggested frequency is one course per semester we can have this particular mode. Next. Then written mode we can have quizzes, objective test, recognition type, multiple choice questions, and filling the blanks, one back. So these are the structured tests, short duration, reliable, excellent validity, quick, challenge to design good questions. In IITs, why they are this question entrance test for IITs is very important because they are not repeating the question. They are so everybody has to think and then they have to give the answers. And so to set such type of question is a very difficult task. Teachers are trained in construction advantages and disadvantages. Next. Written mode, here the nature, annotated bibliographies, individual or group assignments can be given, and this once in a semester in 1 to 2 courses. Referencing skills be taught to the students, and that thing can be done with help of this particular written mode. Next. Nature reports of actively performed or event observed, developed key transferable skills. It is suggested frequencies per semester, mostly in practical courses. Suggested usage important to first teach report writing requirement and processes. Next. Portfolios is another mode. So instead of going repeating, I will go to the next. Then dissertations at the end of the term, we already per semester or a year based on your curriculum, you can decide about dissertations. Next. You can also introduce book reviews, article reviews and portal, and topics should be based on the student interest and usefulness. Even in written mode, you can talk about what to know and learn, reflective journals. So nature format is to be filled by the student before the lesson. Assessment of learning from every lesson help to develop metacognitive skills, time consuming. Every day, every lesson, suggested frequency depends on your time. Suggested usage could be carried out as teamwork to reduce the compilation. These are case studies, particularly management students. They do analyze a given case, come to solution. Advantages: assessing higher order of thinking, promoting creative and innovative solutions, and suggested usage is students may be asked to get the cases. They should come with a case and they should explain, discuss that kind of the cooperative learning we should try to introduce in our class. Next. Nature Viva oral examination conducted individually or in small group, high degree of authenticity. Not all candidates perform well in Viva. Repetitive questions, narrow range of, so range of questions should be more, 2 to 3 times in semester. Making criteria should be known to evaluator and student CTJ suggestion. The group task, group discussion, all these techniques we are using once in every semester. We can have 2 to 5 students can work, and equivalence in forming a group and problem solving. Rapid fire question is another mode. Questions on topic asked very quickly, raise the level of cognitive challenge, may be difficult to assess on the spot, may be embedded in classroom teaching as required. Students should have been told the criteria for good question. Oral mode we are conducting, and we are very good in oral mode because we are conducting Viva. Every lesson as per the need we can have oral examination. Lab work, computer simulations must be preceded by adequate demos and practice and practical. Advantages: formative process of assessment require careful planning and supervision is must. Field assignments also we know students must be exposed to the note taking and report writing skills. Next. Seminars and paper presentation group for individuals. Students must be oriented in seminar writing and in presentation. Poster presentation is another good method. Students should be exposed to various formats of the posters. Next. Now I will come to the assessment rubrics. Assessment is nothing but a scoring guide to evaluate based on criteria, tools to interpret grade to the student, increase objectivity and reduce selectivity, effective in grading large group, clear expectations of assessment, and ensure consistency, transparency, and fairness. Next. Now, what we do in our class, we have to evaluate a student whether he is outstanding, good, average, or needs improvement. Rationally, has the student has been able to explain why the work was done, able to explain why and how, then he is outstanding, able to explain why the work was done in direct terms, then he is good, attempt to explain why, then he is average, and cannot explain why, then he is a poor student or needs improvement. Now, accordingly, you can check the content. How good is the work that has been done? Work appears to have been completed without errors, then he is outstanding. The work contains some minor errors, he is good. The work contains serious errors, then he is average. And work appears to be incomplete, then definitely he is a poor. In communication also, how well he is in work presented, aims, method, result, conclusion, all things are clear, is outstanding. Clear but not only after probing. You ask more questions, then he gets, then he's good. Multiple deficiencies and not clear, then he's average. And communication is poor, then he definitely needs improvement. Next. Outstanding. So you have to develop all these criteria for content, comprehension, organization, and communication skill. And this is all theoretical things. They are placed in our report. So instead of explaining again and again, I will go to the next part. Timelining of the assessment. When we should conduct, what kind of test we should conduct, and all these things are given in the report, and I will show some slides on this timeline. Must be continuous. This is very important. Why we are facing today the problem? See, IIT Bombay could declare the result immediately because their assessment, only the final examination of less weightage, it was not conducted during the pandemic period, and that's why they are in position immediately to declare the results. And we are facing all these problems. Maybe we are not conducting. I would like to take my personal example. When I was an MSc student, some teacher from Canada, Professor V.M. Parikh, came and he introduced a continuous evaluation system. Every week we used to have exam. That time he was calling the system as a unit, continuous. But in so many years, that was in years 75, 76. But up to this stage, we couldn't bring that particular type of examination system. This, in our university, this particular system was implemented only for our batch with this Canadian professor. And still in our country, we are not in position to have this continuous internal evaluation. Maybe we don't have the enough teachers and enough resources, all these things may be the reason. Next. Now, see, we should know in continuous assessment also, formative, entry, and summative, and what class assignment, home assignments are formative. This assignment of quiz, long test, quiz sticks, and summative are long test, maybe 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever you decide. And teacher has to plan for this particular soft skill development, how seminar, group discussion, reading, analyzing, and interpretation and presentation, self-study seminar, group discussion, work-based training projects. Next. Now, I'm giving here, at least we should go for 70% internal. This is suggestion, not necessary. If you go for 100%, I will be very happy, and 30% external. And there we can conduct internal assessment. Maybe we have given some models. Class test of 35 marks, 2. Then quiz of 3 quiz we should conduct it of 10 marks. Then active learning, group discussion 10 marks, home assignment 10 marks, clan assignment, attendance 10 marks, external internal examination 60 marks. You can decide any model. I have given several models here. This is model 1, and all these models are available in the report. You can select your own, because teacher is the final authority as far as the exams are concerned. Next, this is model 2. Here, instead of this, you can have class test, home assignments, group discussion, and this is another method has been mentioned. Model 2 for theory course is given. Theory course, this is a model 3 is also given with some changes: weekly home assignments, class test, external end semester exam, attendance. Next, model 4 is also there for theory course, and here it is 70-30 pattern is there. Home assignments, where review is introduced. You can decide your whatever model you would like to adopt. Next, model for practical exam, also internal assessment mode, lab works. You can, if you want to have this particular model, best 2 out of 3, Viva OC, attendance, and end of course long practical test, and Viva 60 marks, and that will have your assessment for practical course. Next, this is another model for project and sensory assessment. Project assessment, best 3 out of 4. Then participation in discussion 10 marks, attendance external. You can select any this particular model of assessment. Next, this is a model of work experience and course assessment. It is also given in the report. Next, now I am coming to the last and very important part, because how we can change our teaching with help of the examination. So we should know the attainments. Already we know the outcomes, but how much we have attended, whether students have understood the subject. Student is now become more creative. In order to this, lot of mathematical calculations are required. Such type of methodology up to this stage was used in the engineering or pharmacy courses, or mainly AICT courses. This particular attainment of outcomes was measured. But now UGC wants the attainment of outcomes we should try to measure. Even in NAAC now, in new NAAC methodology, they are asking, what is your attainment? Only saying it is our curriculum is outcome based, that's not enough. How much you have attended, that's also important. And how it is calculated, I will try to show in the brief. Next. Now, aligning learning objective, assessment and instructions. Already I have talked about the program learning outcomes, course learning outcomes, unit learning outcomes, delivery, and instructional activities. So again, instead of going into all the details, I will go to the next slide. We know now method to find weightage of each course in attainment of program learning outcomes. So what we have to do for this? First, list program learning outcomes of programs, and already I have mentioned 12, and then again I am going to show all these 12 program learning outcomes. List the courses contributing to each PLO. Teacher has to decide in this particular program which courses are contributing to this program learning outcome number 1, 2, 3, or whatever you are saying. Map the course learning outcomes of each course with the program learning outcomes, and I will show you how it is done. Find the weightage of each course in attainment of program learning outcome and apply. There are various computational methods are available, but we have selected one in our UGC report. We have selected one simple model, and this particular model is known as apply Six Sigma statistical tool or statistical method to know the attainment. Next. Now I will show apply possess knowledge of fundamental subject to solve different problems, analyze various research and scientific problems. These are the program learning outcomes. For program learning outcome number 1 is apply and possess knowledge of fundamental subject. Subject may be chemistry, maybe commerce, whatever is there, accountancy. Analyze various research and scientific, this is number 2. Like this, there are 12 program learning outcomes, and I will show you in the next. Each course, then we have course learning outcomes, and you have to list each unit, each course, we have 6 course learning outcomes. Generally 6 units are there. So we have to course learning outcome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Generally for each course the 15 lectures are allotted, 1 credit, like this. And course learning outcomes are statement of knowledge, skill, abilities that students are expected to know and understand. A well-defined CLO facilitates teacher in measuring its achievements. Now next. Now these are the 12 program learning outcomes I have mentioned as per Washington Accord. The first is disciplinary knowledge. Second is the problem solving, research and scientific problems, that problem solving. Third is analytical and reasoning. Fourth one is scientific reasoning. Fifth is digital literacy. Sixth is moral and ethical values are very important also. Then seventh is the reflective thinking. Eighth is cooperative teamwork and leadership qualities. Ninth is communication skills. 10 is the research related skills, practical use and fostering innovation. These are 12 program learning outcomes. Next. Now we have to map. Now I have taken some examples. Suppose as a teacher, it is a responsibility of teachers to map for program learning outcomes with the course learning outcome. How many courses are related to the program learning outcomes? So I have shown here in this case, suppose I have given this, we know already the program learning outcomes are 12. So I have given number 1 to 12. These are program learning outcome 1 to 12. Now the course 1 is related, course learning outcome number 1 is related. This is a hypothetical example I am giving here. And here, if the contribution, as a teacher you will know, if the contribution of core learning outcome to PLO is 1 to 30% you feel, then you should say it is L, low. If contribution of CLO to PLO is between 31 to 70%, then it is medium, then you can call M. And if the contribution of CLO to PLO is above 71 to 100%, then you call high. So we'll use simple letter L to represent low, M for medium, H for high. Now I will put all PLOs on 1, and then the course learning outcome, I will write 1. It has this relate to program learning 1, then I will write here H. Then it also relate to program learning outcome number 5. It also relate to program learning outcome 9, and it is medium contribution to program outcome in 12. Like this, every course you have to align, and this is called as a mapping. And in this case, if I say, see, in this case, the weightage is also given by the 6 sigma 2. If it is contributing high, then the weightage given is 9. If it is contributing middle, then the weightage is given 3. And it is low, some contribution, then the weightage given is as per 6 sigma, it is 1. Now, see, for this hypothetical, this is a teacher has to prepare this, the program learning outcomes, and whether this course learning outcome mapping, and after mapping, he has to decide whether it is highly contributing, middle level contributing, or low level contributing. Suppose I take example first part, 1 program learning outcome number 1, and in all courses it is, this is 1, H. Here now weightage of each course in attainment of PLO 1. Now you see here everywhere it is H, therefore L there is no, M 0, but H the value there are 6, already I have mentioned each, everywhere it is H, therefore there are 6 H, and it should be multiplied, the weightage of H is 9. So it should be multiplied 6 into 9, therefore weightage is 54. Now the weightage percentage contribution to the course attainment of PLO 1 is 3.48. I will try to tell how to calculate. The formula is weightage of the course and total weightage of all courses. Now in this case, the weightage is 54, and I have calculated for all, for this hypothetical value. Suppose that value, total value is 1548. Then I have to, and write to percentage, means multiplied by 100. So it comes 3.48%. So weightage of each course in attainment we know. Next. Now I will show using direct and indirect methods of AMIS to compute attainment of course learning outcome. Direct methods are end terms, end semester exam, term work, and practicals. These are direct methods. And indirect method is the analysis through the feedback after received at the end of term. So first I will try to discuss about direct method. So course having theory, term work, and practical examination. Suppose there are some subjects, art subject, there is no practical. So we don't have to consider this practical part. Now direct assessment is calculated. This is a formula as per that particular thing. So it is 80 divided, because total weightage for this particular question paper is 150. So 80 marks for theory, 20 marks for term work, and 50 marks for practical. So 80 divided by 150, this is 150 is total of that particular paper, 20 divided by 150 and 50 divided by 50. But there is one factor, X, Y, and Z. And formula of final assessment is 0.7 into D. Means direct assessment, you have to multiply by 0.7, and indirect assessment method, that is analysis of feedback, it is 0.3 into I, and so that will give the formula for final attainment. Next. Now I will take one example, how to calculate that X, Y, and Z. This is very simple. Now, suppose example, I will take a course in physical chemistry. Number of students appeared for that particular course are 55. And the X is number of students score more than 60% marks upon total number of students appeared. Here total number of students appeared are 55, and students who score more than 60% are 36. So definitely the value of X for theory comes out to be 65.45. Likewise, for unit test, from unit test you will get the value of Y. The student securing 60% and more is considered to have understood the unit as per the Six Sigma statistical model. Now I have conducted 6 unit tests for each course learning outcome, and how many students, percentage of attainment in unit test I am giving those who have secured more than 60. So the calculation is given 88.88. All these 6 values are there, and the average comes to be, see here we know the course learning outcome number 5 has students couldn't perform well, and therefore it has gone down. But for this, then we should try to understand how we can improve the method. So we have to improve the teaching of course learning outcome 5. We have to concentrate on that particular learning outcome number 5. We have to give more training to the students in the future. Now, how to calculate the Z? In case of number of students scored, again more than 60% upon total number of students appear, it gives the value of Z, and it is calculated. Number of students appear 55, number of scored students more than 60.45, and therefore the value of Z is 81.80. Now we know direct method, we know value of X, we know the value of Y, we know the value of Z, so we can get the value of direct method 71.32. Now, indirect method. Indirect method, as per the Six Sigma tool, analysis of feedback received at the end term of academic year, scale A, B, C, D, the values I have mentioned, and number of students is given, suppose 50. Feedback as per Six Sigma tool, feedback 5.5 and above are considered as satisfactory level for calculations for indirect attainment. So most important, the student should get feedback above 5.5. Now here I have done the calculations. Course learning outcome CLO1, number of 28, 22, and then average A plus B plus C is 50, and the percentage is 100. Now everywhere I will look for this, then it is 50, 50, 48, 48, and then I can calculate the average 98.66. These calculations are very clear. You can go in, you can on UGC site also. We have given some examples, and it's very simple to calculate this particular value average. Next. Now the final assessment. We know we have calculated direct assessment, the value was 71.32, indirect 98.66. So 0.7 into D plus 0.3 into indirect assessment value, total value comes to be 79.51. The final assessment of CLO is 79.51, and assessment of PLO, direct full weightage contribution to PLO. The percentage shows in front of each subject represents the percentage of calculation. You don't have to worry about more calculation. Now the softwares are available. Software will calculate everything for you, but you will know where you have to change your methodology of the teaching, and all these calculations are useful to decide the method of evaluation. Next. Here, the large distribution of grades already we are doing, and that distribution you can use either Formula 1 or Formula 1 and 10 grade point. UGC has suggested we should assess the students on grade 10 grade point, and that thing has been mentioned. Next. And some of the recommendation at the end I would like to give. Next. The examination streams objective learning outcome based education framework should be there. Separate suitable modes we should adopt for UG and PG exams. Emphasis should be on internal and continuous evaluation. Next. The question paper properly and correctly wording based on Bloom's taxonomy, balanced, well-setting, unambiguous questions, key to quality evaluation. Question bank, already I am very happy Kerala has introduced, they are trying to prepare question banks plus paper setters. Periodic audit of question papers, as also answer books follow action for quality monitoring by state agency. This is another recommendation. Next. Grading and transfer of grades. Ensure program-wise minimum uniformity in higher education institute with respect to number of courses, credits, and total credits to facilitate smooth credit transfer. Some uniformity in broad topics. Absolute grading versus relative. See, most of the universities, I don't know in India, most of the universities, they are doing absolute grading. This particular mark, this particular grade. But in real sense, if you would like to assess the students and if you would like to change your teaching methodology, then you have to go for relative grading. It needs some kind of calculations. You have to plot the marks and you have to consider everything, and then you will be possible to get relative grading. And for higher classes, we should go for relative grading. If the class size is more, then it's not necessary to go for relative grading. Next. Then there should be moderation. Next, that we are doing. Then we should have this on-demand examination. Students want anytime exam. Then we should think about the model in which we can have on-demand examination. This is particularly for online courses, the on-demand examination. When I'm ready, then immediately the exam should be taken. That is the students think that immediately exam should be there. So such type of things are mentioned in the report. Next. Internal and external evaluation. Already I have given some how internal and timelining and all the details are already I have mentioned. Next. Malpractices must be checked to ensure credibility of system, protection of identity of examiner, needs and examiners each to other. Cheating, candidates not be allowed to leave the hall. That are the usual examination rules. Then technological interventions are very important areas to be specified, must be followed. Higher education institute software and made available to higher education for easy and fast implementation of reforms. Areas of registration, seating arrangements, everything should be automated. Question banks, top priority course wise, and question banks should be sufficiently large with questions under various categories based on learning outcomes to be revised periodically. Minimum standard infrastructure we have given, and we have given some instructions about result declaration. Next. These are some useful resources, type of questions based on Bloom's taxonomy, books on revised, and I'm providing the copy of presentation to all. I have requested already. I have forwarded copy of my presentation to this. And if you have any, if you need any details, I have my mail also. On the mail, you take the details. You can write any mail, and I will try to provide the information. Useful even resources for outcome-based education are also mentioned in the presentation. So with this, I would like to thank, even though I'm late, I have taken some more time, but I thought whatever is given in the report, I will try to present. Thank you all. Once again, at the end, I would like to thank for organizing this online faculty. see, it was very difficult to know whether you understood anything. So if it is online, has some disadvantages. So it's very difficult for me to know whether when I was presenting, when I was taking presenting this thing in a class, then I used to know looking to the face of the students, and I used to try to explain. But in online, it is somewhat difficult. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Participants can now ask questions. Sir, can I ask one question?
You can see whatever questions are there. I have my email ID manikrao.salunke@gmail.com. They can send. I will reply. Give details
Okay, sir.
on my email also.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Respected resource person, Professor Dr. Manikrao Salunke, dear participants, we have come to the close of the third technical session. For the past 1 hour, we were listening to an important presentation by Professor Dr. Manikrao Salunke on examination reforms. We are very happy that the chairman of the Reforms Committee of the UGC himself is with us, explaining the important aspects of examination reforms. He has also served as the Vice Chancellor of many universities. We are very proud that a person of such a stature, having a rich academic and administrative experience, is attending our program. We are highly indebted to him for being accepted our invitation and having participated in our program. It was indeed a highly informative session. He explained the various aspects of examination reforms in the higher education, such as rationale for evaluation reforms, program objectives, program outcomes, mode of assessment, etc., particularly in the light of new educational policy. He elaborated on the proposed examination reforms in a systematic and a simple manner. Now, on behalf of Bishamore College, Mavelikara, the Department of Commerce, and the participants, I express our love and heartfelt thanks to Dr. Manikrao Salunke. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
dear participants.
Thank you.